Republicans are realizing that Donald Trump may have doomed them all, and they are panicking because they want to get reelected, but Trump might have cost them everything, and I love it. Donald Trump has kind of trapped the Republican Party in a political nightmare, and there's not an easy way out for them right now. Every time an American is killed or there's another escalation in the Iran war, every time the cost of living goes up, it belongs to Republicans right now because they surrendered their party so completely and totally to Donald Trump that Trump's failures are their failures. Trump is even going to hold a midterm convention in September to make the midterms even more about Donald Trump. This is terrible for your average Republican. Your average Republican wanted to run on, we're going to fix the border. We're going to deal with crime. By the way, crime has been declining for 30 years in the United States. We're going to, to the extent that some of them care about it, trans athletes and campus protests. And they wanted to sort of play with the cultural controversy that Fox News can generate, blame Democrats for everything that's not going well, and just kind of say, are you better off with Republicans in charge? Of course you are. Trump has turned that on its head and has made that question, are you better off right now than you were when Joe Biden left the office, a very dangerous question. Because instead of talking about their preferred issues or things that they might actually be able to run successfully on, Republicans are in the position of defending a disastrous expanding war with Iran, which now includes American casualties, energy costs that are up, gas prices that are up, and Trump giving national speeches obsessing about the 2020 election and trying to rig 2026 because he's worried they're going to lose. And so this is a real problem for Republicans. When Republicans have to go out there and talk to voters, and voters go, hey, Trump promised to end foreign wars, but he actually started a new one. And he promised to reduce prices, but prices are up, and the tariffs increased prices, and the war increased prices. And he said things would be stable again, but instead we've got a war that's ended and restarted 40 times, and Trump's threatening war crimes, and now service members have been killed. How do Republicans deal with that? And when voters say at their town halls to their senator, to their member of the House, hey, what's going on with making my groceries more affordable, like you promised, and making housing more affordable or healthcare more affordable? And Trump is giving primetime speeches about voting machines and conspiracy theories. What do the Republicans say to justify vote for me anyway? Now, you look at polling. Polling has shown over and over again, Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. He's got 27% approval on the economy, often the strongest issue for Republicans. And Americans are not happy with what's going on in Iran. There's a newer than what I just cited Economist YouGov poll, which says 63% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. 68% want a deal to end the Iran war as quickly as possible, period. So Republicans are not going to be able to pretend Trump's some unrelated person. And it's important also for us to remember that these Republicans in the House and Senate mostly have rubber stamped 99, 97 to 100% of what Donald Trump has wanted. And so they are inextricably linked to Trump. So Republicans in Congress often are expected to defend Trump, to praise Trump. Trump demands total loyalty. Most of them provide it. But now they're going to have to answer for decisions they didn't make and can't control. If Trump continues to push this war into August, into September, Republicans own it. And if energy prices remain high into October, Republicans own it. If Trump does another visibly incoherent appearance where he falls asleep and says insane things and basically says, I don't really care about what's going on with affordability, it's a hoax, Republicans are going to have to deal with that when they talk to voters, and their options are pretty terrible. I don't feel bad for them. They made their bed, they've got to lie in it, but they can just defend Trump to the death and inherit his unpopularity. Maybe they get voted out. They can criticize Trump and risk Trump going after them and saying, hey, you got to abandon this person. Or they can say nothing and they just look really weak. And Democrats get to define them as accomplices to Trump's agenda, which of course they are. Now, the thing about partisan polarization is that of course, Republicans aren't going to disappear. There are tens of millions of Americans who will always vote Republican no matter what Trump does. Tens of millions of Americans who will always vote for Democrats no matter what a Democratic president does. That's a reality. But the tricky thing about midterm elections is that they really get decided at the margins. And so a few points among independents, a few voters who decide, well, I won't necessarily vote against you, but I'm going to stay home. If you have a decline in Republican enthusiasm, or we're also seeing Democratic voters becoming more motivated to vote because they recognize that getting Republicans out of at least controlling the House of Representatives would be a big deal. All of that can just torpedo Republicans. And so this is what Republicans have to contend with. They made one guy the entire identity of their party. They eliminated just about every internal check on him. They celebrated how unpredictable he is and all that stuff when they thought it was good for them. But now Trump's unpredictability has gotten us war, inflation, chaos, and liability. Republicans are going to have to figure out how to talk about it. They tied their future to Trump. And if Trump goes down, as he is with this war and everything else, he may take all of them down with him. Now, can Republicans still find some way to sort of turn it around? Never say never. Of course they can. And I can imagine a scenario where, I mean, listen, it seems increasingly unlikely, but maybe the Iran war really does end by August 15th. And then Republicans have something a little more positive to spin for their midterm convention, after which the early and mail-in ballots will start being returned. I don't know, like maybe they can do it, but it's looking very bad. And this is why, as I've said before, a cornered animal can get very dangerous. It is increasingly looking like a blue wave bloodbath for Republicans in November. The more they come to believe they're going to lose, the more willing they are going to be to push election restrictions, the likes of which Trump was talking about last week. So we've got to be ready for that. But this is potentially a disaster for them, but we have to make it so. The brutally hot weather we have has a way of exposing malfunctioning underwear. You take one long walk or commute in the humidity, or you're in a studio like this one that's overheated one day, and suddenly it's the sweat and the friction and the readjusting. And this is where Sheath underwear is a game changer. We have a sponsor, Sheath. They just make great underwear built around a pouch design that will separate and support. It'll reduce skin-on-skin contact. It'll eliminate the chafing when things get a little sticky. Their lineup includes 5 or 8-inch boxer briefs. They've got trunks, base layers, socks, and more. You can get bamboo. You can get modal, cotton, airflow fabrics. The airflow fabrics are designed to be cooling and breathable, whether you're moving around or just lounging around. And Sheath's bamboo and modal options are built for soft, comfortable daily wear. You might be doing morning errands. Maybe it's a late night show you're going to. So during these blisteringly hot months, don't just crank up the fan and hope for the best. Upgrade your first layer. Go to sheathunderwear.com/Pakman. Use code Pakman for 20% off your entire order. The link is in the description.